Back for the second half of Olympus Rises. Hope everyone is having a wonderful time. If you're watching us on YouTube, hey, might be playing live soon. You might want to check out my Twitch or something. If you're watching us on Twitch, thanks for staying. We just possibly corrupted a godchild, which is great and also terrible for them. So yeah, let's jump back into it. Let me pull this up, and let me pull this up. Right here. Hello, everyone.
Hi.
Hello.
Also, yes, that parrotfish productive bubble. Yes, basically. More like everything's been shrink wrapped almost from the inside, right? Like it's all accessible to you. It's like a giant bubble box thing.
They just had to irradiate the coffee briefly to
basically
sterilize it.
Yep exactly.
While we're waiting for Devin, I didn't realize that speaking of irradiation, I didn't realize that there was a case of someone sticking their head in the equivalent of the large of the collider, basically like a proton beam.
Really?
Yeah, it's
Did they die?
So there was an accident, and this guy, and I can't.
I'd say there was an accident that occurred.
There was a malfunction with this thing, and I'll keep this under 60 seconds now that Devin's back. Malfunction. Guy goes into the machine to check it out. The safety measures were apparently also malfunctioning. Beam was on. Beam is obviously invisible.
Yep.
His head passes through the beam, and he describes what was basically like lightning going off, like visually, but he didn't feel anything. And they basically shipped him off to observe, to like quote unquote observe his death. And he didn't die. His nose, like part of his nose fell off and his face swelled up, and he was paralyzed on like the left side of his face, but he's, I think, still alive today. It basically just severed, it instantly severed a bunch of nerves in his face. And
like a fuckload of synapses.
Yeah, I mean, they're...
Sounds like a really bad
neurons are
story.
Astonishingly fragile.
It sounds like a really bad origin story. Holy fuck, that was really good. Yeah. That was really funny. I liked it. Excellent. So, let's talk about you corrupting this child now, Oscar.
And possibly pissing off the largest religious organization in the sector. Yeah.
Oh, she would have seen it soon enough. I don't think Oscar did anything that she wasn't gonna...
Ooh.
She's maybe like a day ahead of schedule in terms of having her mind blown.
Yeah, maybe, perhaps, who knows.
Listen, Jordan, if I say it with enough conviction, maybe you'll just run with it.
Sure, yeah, no, that's totally a thing that happens sometimes. So, after this encounter with Raquel, let's catch up with the other two. Have you guys been doing anything for the past week that you've been in transit, or is it just time to jump into more rolling here? Just business as usual.
Pretty much right now. Fortune for any time of period that is not dictated. He would like to be honing his marksmanship.
Okay, you have like a target barrel, I assume.
Yeah, well, I'm not shooting anything on the ship, but I'm practicing my aiming and drawing and making sure everything's on target, and then like dry fires and
sure
on the ship. And
yeah,
I'm working.
He's just making like pew pew laser noises.
Yeah, pretty much. But character reference, I'm working on getting that 3
Right.
and
Yeah.
projectile weapons.
When you get to that level 6.
Yeah,
Cool. Awesome. You're starting the development process. I like it.
correct.
I like it. Excellent. Gogo, what about you? What's business as usual look like, or is there anything specific?
After she came out of her deep, celebrity gossip hole that she probably worked herself into.
Yeah, no, you got into like weird shit.
like weird. Like it got weird for a bit. Yeah.
You realize you never looked up Hiapo's daughter either, so like.
Oh yeah, like
you went
every person I could think of, all of a sudden I'm like watching.
And then it got into like
space
old...
YouTube and
It got
all
into,
the
like,
BuzzFeeds and
it got into like old contacts too from like the circuit, and you're like, man, what are the? I haven't talked to fucking John Schman in like forever. Let me just fucking, what is he up to today? And
yeah, that's pretty much, that was at least a couple days.
Yeah, at least most
for
of
sure. And also trying not to kill everybody on the ship. That's her other.
Okay, good.
Business as usual.
Chan appreciates that.
Unless Chan comes to talk to me, I try to avoid him so I don't make him feel bad in some way. Unintentionally.
So Chan, having found a new sense of self, basically, with
autonomy.
Yeah, a new sense of actually being able to. I think TMZ survives the Scream. Let's be honest.
Does it?
Yeah, 100%.
I mean, 100%. It's like cockroach. It just doesn't ever go away, no matter what happens. Just gets bigger from the irradiation, as we were so speaking of. It's basically Fallout. Anyway, so yeah, no, I think that Chan is he is a very habitual individual, right? Like he's very, this needs to be done at this time, this needs to be done at this time, and still there are relapses, right? Definitely for the first few days, even you notice, Gogo, that like he's treating you very much like an overseer, and he's never really ever lost that, but there was definitely like he would never question you, but he like asks you questions every now and then now. But like for the first couple of days, you may not have been present for the incident that occurred, but clearly like something happened, or like maybe he knows there's another woman on the ship, right? And so like he's very much into like, you probably come in and he probably like drops into a low bow for you, which he hasn't done in quite a few weeks, but quickly like recovers and apologizes, and probably slips and calls you High Overseer a couple times. And then you tell him not to do that, and he apologizes.
I was going to say, yeah, Gogo tries to shut it down in the nicest way that she can. To be like, hey, I thought we were past that. No?
Right, which basically appears to be a rebuff, and then he apologizes again.
Right, absolutely. Yeah. I know.
It's the vicious cycle of what is going on with that individual currently. But yeah, no, he's definitely become much more of a crew member and less of a slave, for sure. Stanley is observed to be much more active as well, taking face to kind of appear before the crew on occasion, as we saw earlier. Never like directly interacting with them, but Oscar, you probably noticed that there is a specific corner of your room that appears to be like a little more divoted, and maybe a little bit like, maybe there's like a chew, like he's chewing on like the leg of a desk or something. He's made like a hovel kind of in your room, where he like sleeps every so often.
When he's not in the vents.
Right, when he's not consuming food. His growth has stalled. It seems like it may be related to the like lack of more and more food. His growth may be exponential as equal to the variety and availability of food, right? But he definitely doesn't look like starving or anything like that.
Well, I think Oscar is just going to hope that he doesn't fade away to nothing, because they can't do much better for him right now.
Right.
So he's hoping that stalling in growth is not the same as dying.
No, it's like it's like you're a teen and you have growth spurts, and now you're like nearing the edge of that,
Okay.
That
His bones are
precipice.
setting, and he's...
Yeah, he's got bones, I think. I don't know, it's hard.
No
Now it's
idea.
weird.
It's a saying.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Not so much. I mean, Oscar doesn't have bones, and he probably still says that.
True. Cool. So, without anything else, Gogo, what's our destination? Is it going to be 0302? Jump into dead space?
That's gonna be a no.
Well, remember, along hyperspace lines, even the non-inhabited hexes have exchange fueling stations.
Right, but don't I still get a penalty?
Nope.
That's charted.
Because it is a charted course.
Oh, okay.
As long as we stay on that
So-
course.
Yeah, as
So
long as
there's
you
a difference.
stay on the hyperspace lines. Yeah, there is. There's
Dead
the hyperspace
space
lane.
just means that there isn't anything
yeah,
particularly
uninhabited
interesting
space.
there.
How's that? Because technically, some of those blank spaces out there might be inhabited. You guys just don't know it yet.
Dead space just sounds so ominous.
Correct. It's also a great
That's
line of video games, by the way.
Uh,
Which don't worry,
none
it's
of
coming
that.
soon.
None of that. None of that.
Don't worry, it's coming soon.
None of that. No.
Coming soon to a theater near you. Dead Space 3000. Anyway, I should play those games again before we do another arc or something. So
Maybe before we do Eclipse
Yeah, there
phase,
you go.
but please don't inject that into Olympus.
All right, so to the 0302, I need a 8. Please, go. Hey!
Boom.
Bum. 0302 it is. So,
Keep it rolling.
0203 is where you have to deposit your ore. So it is a single jump that you must make in order to reach that destination. Perfect.
Yeah.
And now, finally, after all of this time, you guys are back on the inhabited side of the sector.
Yeah.
And so, importantly, when you launch into 0203, which, as a reminder to everyone, is... I'm sorry, 0203 is not where you need it. 0103, I'm sorry. We'll use that for the double jump, right? Totally.
Yeah, because that's
Sorry.
what I thought we were going, and then
I was thinking
like,
0203,
oh, okay.
but 0203
wrong.
is totally Ramondi. Totally
Alright.
Ramondi. We don't want that. We've been there, done that. So 0103 is one of the few systems that actually has 3, count them, 1, 2, 3 inhabited planets upon it. It's actually only one of 3 systems to have more than 1 inhabited planet, mind you. And the 3 planets that exist in this system are Haldus, Davino, and Eurymedon. And now I don't believe you guys actually stopped here on your way through the first time.
We've been to Eurymedon.
Oh, right. Yes. Eurymedon was the first place. That's where one of the heavy Red 5 mining complexes is.
That's where we got
that was
Stanley.
That was your very first mission and where you got
I was
Stanley.
gonna say, this is Stanley's homeworld, right?
It is. It's Stanley's home system. And it also happens to be the home of the Daybreak Enterprises, who are primarily a robotics company, but they also specialize in like manufactured material, right? Like just in general. They started kind of as a robotics company because it was a good field to get into, but they've since branched out into making most of the like manufactured material in the system. And it's said that probably like a saying that's said behind closed doors is West Wind might be strong, but they would be nothing if the Daybreak Enterprises went under. Because West Wind builds the ships, but they get almost all of their manufactured material from Daybreak. So it's one of those things. Boomer actually used to work for Daybreak Enterprises. And Gogo, you can tell me, since Will's not here, how much do you know of Boomer's past before the two of you met?
Not everything, but I know quite a bit.
So
He's shared quite a bit.
You
his
probably know that Boomer has referenced before an incident that occurred that caused his separation. It was not a choice made by him, or I should say, it probably was a choice made by him, but not because he, not because, like, under threat of being fired or a strike or anything like that. There's a thing that happened. He probably hasn't ever gone into too much detail about it, because he probably does the thing where he just, like, laughs it off and he's like, oh, we don't need to worry about that. That's in the past. Like let's look to the future. Let's look to get in this next thing. And he's very good at deflecting about it. But since this is your also off of Daybreak Enterprises, since this is also your first stop in this in the what I like to call the populated cluster of the star system, this cluster right here that you guys are in currently, this group of, like, 7 systems or 8 systems or something, is probably the most densely populated out of all of the other clusters that exist. Closely followed by the one directly below it with like Westwind and the Tan and that kind of thing. But this is the one where, like, the Sriek, all of, like, their home planet's here, and they have billions of people, and the Daybreak Enterprises employ just as many people as the Westwind, probably. Lots of different heavy, like, operating machinery, operating stuff going on here. Like, there's just a lot of shit going on here. So, when you guys warp in, you're met with the normal amount of spam that occurs, but every single one of you, having been removed from the activities that have been going on in this part of the sector for so long, receive multiple messages from maybe acquaintances or friends you don't know just checking in, or pen pals or whatever. But there are quite a few that are interesting to you. So we'll start with Gogo. Gogo, you get a message, and it comes from that same line that changes names every time it talks to you, but that one where it said, hey, we'll meet you somewhere, we'll let you know, and you know who I'm talking about. And they actually say, we'll meet you on Haldis. They said they want to meet you on Haldis. And they give you a location on Haldis, on one of the residential zones. It's kind of like a... it looks to be the equivalent of, like, a dive bar in space.
So long as it's not a ramen bar, she'll be fine.
And it says, we have all the information you may need. And then, like, it also probably says below it, it says, oh, and don't worry about asking who to look for. We'll find you. And I think that, like, Boomer walks in simultaneously, like, holding his compad, and do you have that, like, look at each other moment?
And then look down at the compad,
yeah.
And then look at each other. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you both have very clearly received the same message about Haldis, which is convenient, because that's where you're going, isn't it?
Indeed.
There's actually a reason for that, which I'm sure you'll find out. So, Devin, you have also received a message.
Hooray!
From your, I'll call them employers. Well, you receive a message from the Claris group that you have, there's a contract up, and that you can meet a contact over on, let me find it here. Yes, it's also on Haldis. Also on Haldis, you have a contact that is willing to meet you. And it actually says, in, like, the where to meet the contact, it says, bring formal wear. And it gives you the location to, like, a much... It's a heavy industry world, so there's a lot of fucking pollution and shit in the air. Like, it's actually so bad, in fact, if we remember about Haldis, it's actually so bad that the atmosphere has become corrosive and invasive because of all the fucking pollution and shit in it. And so most people live either, like, completely indoors in these giant, like, multi-layered Coruscant-level complexes, right? where you never actually have to go outside. You can just stay inside forever. It's basically a city planet. Would be it's a planet that's covered in factories with large city centers kind of dotting the landscape.
Okay.
And your contact is in like one of the probably more prosperous areas. It's like where like the corporate headquarters and stuff are. And Oscar, you receive a message from your best friend,
from my favorite,
from your favorite giant jolly Irish Santa. Rudolph has written you back.
Lovely.
Quite quickly, in fact, right? Because you only sent that message like a few weeks ago.
Right. He probably only received that like. That would be like an instantaneous response, basically.
Almost, yeah, definitely. Like you could have gotten lucky on the ships, right? Like it could have made it, but definitely not past this cluster, probably. And he sends you a message that says he's doing something on Valgerd, which Valgerd is in sector 0104. He's doing something on Valgerd, taking care of some personal business, but if you're passing through the system, he'd love to meet up with you. Maybe in orbit somewhere, or maybe at the exchange outpost, to discuss further.
0104.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Oscar texts him back immediately and says that they will probably be able to make that happen. And he says, very likely can make that happen. Looking forward to chatting.
Yeah, cool. Awesome. So, with some clearly defined goals here, do you guys head straight for Haldus to drop off your goods, take care of your quest things? Just as a reminder, Eurymedon is the mining planet, like heavy mining, with the crazy like it's an inert gas. They actually harvest the asteroids that are surrounding it, and even the ones that are actually like inside of the inert gas planet, right? Like inside of the crushing gravity fields. They're mining the asteroids with those giant like dome shaped enclosures, right? If you guys remember that, I'm sure you do from session 1. And there's also Divino, who it's a thin atmosphere planet. It's tech level 4, but it is definitely plagued by radioactivity. There's a lot of like it's kind of like a Fallout world that's been reclaimed almost by tech level 4. Like people have come in and kind of repopulated, and with tech level 4 stuff, you can do a lot to kind of eliminate the threat of radioactivity, right? There's a lot of things that can like not necessarily reduce the half-life of it, right? It still exists, but terraforming, like very minor terraforming procedures and stuff, or just simply surviving inside of radioactive areas is totally possible with TL4 equipment. And then obviously Haldus, which is what I said before, the factory world with corrosive atmosphere because of all the fucking pollution and shit. That's not to say like you could totally like walk around outside, but it'd be like Hong Kong times 10. Like you'd probably have to like take some medication afterwards just to clear out your system. It's not like an instant like you're gonna burn to death or like fry or anything like that. I wouldn't suggest being in the sun in the well, not the sun, but in the star's rays for very long, because you probably get radiation sickness pretty fast.
Nice.
Yeah, totally. So the group of you, because we haven't heard that word, that sound.
I really missed that.
I know.
It's been a while, yeah.
It's like this epic space scene where we see your ship like flying over, and then we just hear the noise. It ruins the whole moment.
Yeah, it would be like the intro to Star Wars, where it's got that super heavy, awesome music, and then every single ship that enters is like flying by and it's gigantic and just looms over the planet, and then you get to the thrusters, where you normally hear the... But instead it's just...
Yeah, we shouldn't hear anything, let alone the fart copter.
Yep.
Yeah, precisely.
In the vacuum of space.
Again, everything's powered by methane.
It's just so comforting to hear that.
Yeah, totally.
Are we all basically on the same page, like deliver or, checklist style? Go down the list.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so the question is, like, Boomer and Gogo, would you guys tell either of the others, or you'd be like, okay, we're gonna go grab a drink, bye?
Oh, it was definitely the latter.
Okay.
We're gonna go get a drink. We need to go online. So we'll talk to you later.
I'd probably be the same. Like, I'm gonna go get a drink. Bye.
So I imagine it's like this. You all land on the planet, and you land inside of like the iris of the like closing sealed spaceport door closes above you, and it like sucks out all the pollution and like fills it in with clean air, and then it's like you're safe to disembark. And it's similar to like anything in the Knights of the Republic where you like fly to that city planet and you fly through the force field, except there's not a force field, it's just a physical door that opens and closes. And you land and it's safe to enter, and the boarding ramp goes down, and like as the boarding ramp goes down, Boomer probably squares away like, hey, we're here to deliver this stuff, come take it, and like coordinates that. And so like Oscar and Fortune and Chan, and I assume you guys tell Raquel she's staying on the ship, right?
Yes.
Unless you don't want to, unless you want to take her off the ship, that's totally up to you guys.
No.
Oscar's not taking any more chances with her.
No.
I mean, it's doubtful anyone recognize her here.
Nope. I'm not losing a child on the planet.
It's gonna be no.
No, Oscar. I don't even know that. If it's clear that basically everyone but him has something.
Well, yeah, so that's the scene I wanted to describe, right? Like everybody's there standing around, and Boomer and Gogo are like, peace. And Fortune's like, yeah, I got a thing to do, and like turns around, and it's just like Oscar and Chan standing on like the space dock, and Chan just like looks at you and he's like, I have shopping I must do.
Aww. Yeah.
And he looks at Oscar like if Oscar says like okay, I'll join you. Like, what do you say, Oscar, when he just like looks at you and says that?
Chan's a big boy. He can do his thing.
Yeah. So I mean, he waits for a moment to see like what you say.
No, Oscar gives him a polite nod, and then makes his way. Back onto the ship, I suppose.
He puts a beanie on, right? He like pulls the beanie down tight on around his head, and he's like, okay, I'm gonna do it. And he like grabs like an empty sack and like throws it over his shoulder and begins marching off.
You know what? Oscar, as Chan is pulling on his beanie, he says, "You have my number, Chan." And then he goes back onto the ship.
Yeah, cool. So yeah, Oscar, maybe you oversee like the final unloading of the ore and stuff, right? Cool. Yeah. So let's move on to let's do the boomer. No. Let's do the Fortune thing first.
Okay.
So Fortune, you arrive.
Well, the first thing I'm gonna need to do is I'm gonna need to rent a suit.
Yeah. So you were told to bring formal wear, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
I don't own formal wear, so I'm going to see if I can't rent something.
Right, sure.
If there is such a thing here still.
I thought that was a euphemism. I thought that was like calling something wet work.
No. They meant like black tie.
Oh, I thought he was like gonna go kill people.
Nope.
Not yet.
Like formal wear, I took to mean all of your guns.
No, but that is a great euphemism that I will use in the future. Right? And I will let you know when I'm using that in the future.
Okay.
It'll be bring your steel ties, and then that'll be when you guys know it's the euphemism, because that's a good one. But
nice.
No, I actually did mean like a tuxedo or black tie. Like Fortune has been told he's attending a black tie event to receive his next contract.
Yeah.
Boy, would Oscar's face be red if he went and murdered a bunch of people on accident.
I love how Oscar would like show up with like all of his swords and stuff and be like, "Hey, Fortune, I thought you called me. You said bring formal wear." Fortune's like in a tux with a bow tie, and he's like, "Fuck, Oscar, I meant like dress nice." Jesus.
That would have been a good character building.
That's amazing. Anyway, so yeah,
in due time.
Yeah, you got to go rent a suit. And that's totally something you can do on the planet. It's not easy. Like, this isn't a planet designed for a lot of formal parties. But you have to take a shuttle, actually, to, like, a different part of the planet, because you guys stopped at, like, one of the factory places, right, to unload all the shit that they're going to be using to make plasteel. You actually have to, like, go get a shuttle, and, like, there's public transportation to get from to and fro. That's negligible amount of money. So you jump on a shuttle and you head over, and like probably on the way you're like swiping through your compad, like, okay, where can I get a tux? Where can I get a tux? And luckily there's quite a few like places where you're going, so you have to go. And I think we get the montage scene, and unless you have anything to say about it, like we get the montage scene of like you being fitted for a suit, and like maybe like the trying on of a couple different jackets. And what do you settle on? What do you look like?
Probably very traditional tuxedo.
Sure.
Probably so traditional too, where it even has the flaps in the back that hang down.
Yeah, cool. Do you get a cane and top hat too?
It's got the penguin suit.
Yeah.
Pretty much, yeah, with the cummerbund and suspenders.
Yeah, excellent.
So settle the operant word in that statement then?
I mean,
settle
is... I use settle in the fact of, like, what is he going to... Like, is he going to go in the blue tux?
I'm just joking. I'm just joking.
Yes, totally. So the other question is, are you going to, like, go get trimmed up too?
Actually, I probably have a cape.
Okay.
I probably went so far as to have a cape. Yes.
Yeah, no, that's probably a style that exists on the planet. Sure.
Well, it used to here too, but...
Yeah, absolutely. So, do you get trimmed up too? Do you get your beard and hair kind of?
Yeah, probably.
Okay, so how much do we go on that?
The hair trimmed, groomed, probably a high and tight, like military look. But then the facial hair is probably a well trimmed beard. It's not gone, but it's just clean.
So you get your hair is quite long currently, isn't it?
Yeah.
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 So you get like the high and tight, like, not flat top exactly, but
no, the top is still kind of long and just combed over, but the sides are shaved down.
Totally. And then you get trimmed up, so you still have like a full beard, right? Like not even like just like maybe like a couple inches long still, but like trimmed and rounded out and looking.
Yeah, it's probably
sharp.
A good 2 to 3 inches long still.
Sure. Yeah. Cool. So you're looking good, right? Like you are dressed up and ready to kill, no pun intended or euphemism intended. And I feel like I got to be clear now, just to be safe. So you head off towards this event that you were intended to go to, and it's about, well, just for ease of sake, I'm not going to say it's like in 4 hours, but yeah, you show up there, and you are wired an invitation, and you're not given a name, you're not given like a like any details, you're just given a picture of a he's bald with a mustache and goatee, but very short, like just kind of like not stubble, but maybe like half an inch or a quarter of an inch long. And he's very clearly like of African descent. He's very dark skinned, very dark features. And the picture you have of him is in like he's in like a red suit, almost kind of like a leisure suit, like almost like a what do you call it? Like a Hugh Hefner, smoking jacket almost. With like the nice like button up or silk shirt.
It's underneath. Like a velvet jacket.
Yeah, totally. Much. With like the red and then the black trimmings on it, and tied around the waist, and he has like a cigar in his hand. And the distinctive feature is you can see on his right hand, on his ring finger, he has a ring, and it's a large gold ring, and in the center it's got a large like red. It's almost like a signet ring, basically.
Got it.
And what it looks like is, let me see if I can find a good view for what it looks like. Yeah, this is exactly it right here. Perfect. So this is close to it right here. Boom. There it is.
Okay.
So just so everybody else can see, that's what it looks like right there. And you recognize that, if you may not already recognize that, as being, it appears to be the Total Alliance symbol. If you look at the Total Alliance symbol, it's very similar to what I just showed you. That appears to be what it is. So imagine the Total Alliance symbol in the middle like that.
Got it.
And all you receive is a picture. And luckily it doesn't say target, so you're not supposed to kill this individual. But this appears to be your contact, right? So clearly maybe this is a mission for the Total Alliance. I don't know. You can infer what you want from it.
I like to try not to jump to conclusions.
Exactly, before you have all the information. That's good. And so you enter into the grand hall area. You're checked off on the list. You have an invitation. You present it. It's very James Bond-esque, where you're like, present your invitation. There's that brief moment of like looking down the list, like trying to figure out who you are. You're given an alias. What's your alias?
Way to put me on the spot.
Hey.
Brain's not working.
It's fine.
James Bond.
Okay, yeah, James Bond is your alias. Seems great. He was perfect. So, yeah, he says the quintessential, are you Bond? James Bond? And
yes.
You say
And
yes.
for some reason I have an English accent now.
Yeah, you can put on whatever accent you want. And so, yeah, you enter into the party, and it's very kind of in the moment. Basically a slew of people going to and fro, but you're very on point. You can tell security is pretty high at this place. But after almost no time at all, you spot your contact, who appears to be surrounded by quite a few people. And he's talking and laughing, and there's a big carousing going on. So what do you think your angle of approach would be on this? Would you like wait for like him to go to the bathroom or something and then make contact, or would you like try to like sidle into the conversation? Because ostensibly he he probably knows he's supposed to be contacted by somebody, obviously. So if you make it obvious, he could also probably find a way to do it. Do you like, hitman knock out the bartender, serve him a drink, and then like get the information that way, or like what's the angle of approach here for
probably try to listen in and see if I can pick out who this guy is or what he does or something. Get a little more information before I just walk into to something I don't know about.
So let's see. Let's make some checks here. I feel like I need to have you make some checks if you want some additional information beyond what you've already been given. I think that I should. Let's see. What is a good check? I think actually, to be honest, let me just look up what the book says about this particular type of check to make sure that I'm not going to give you a check that is dumb here. Because I think that this might actually be the first time I get to use a. Yeah, cool. I want you to make me a steward check.
Based on?
Based on wisdom. Because you are trying to infer something in the situation about this.
Whoa, check that out.
Nice. Nice fucking roll. Yeah, totally. So you walk up, and you're a business guy, so you understand how to, like, make money. But you also understand a little bit of, like, the back end of, like, how to manage money and how to do things. And based on your knowledge of that, you can recognize very quickly the way that this individual is, like, talking to his peers. He's a broker, right? He's a money broker. He's a power mover. He makes the deals, he wheels and deals, but also makes sure he gets himself lucky as well, right?
Okay.
He definitely is in the higher echelon, probably, of the political scene here on Haldis, and probably his reach probably extends even further than that. And you're not always given a name of who your contact is going to be, but also a lot of times, like, Claris gives you a contract, go kill this guy. But not all contracts for Claris are go kill something, right? Sometimes
Correct.
It's like, I need you
Bring
to
this back.
Right, bring this back, or I need you to do some espionage on this particular group of people, or something like that, right? Similar to how we saw in our stories, where there's sometimes spy missions, right? And so, like, eventually throughout the night, you learn this. He's a power broker. You learn that he has a lot of dealings with the Daybreak Enterprises and Westwind, and through happenstance, everything that Daybreak Enterprises touches, which is basically everything. Because, again, most manufactured goods come from Daybreak Enterprises, and then are, like, machined. Or they're machined here, and then probably assembled in other locations. So, knowing that he is kind of like a high roller here is at least a step in the right direction. So, what would you do with that information?
It would probably just tailor the way I approach. Maybe a little easier to break into the conversation, not just be like, "So, do you see those no revolvers?" And they'd be like, "What?" But now I know what he's talking about, so
right.
I can walk in and
you can walk in and kind of be like, "Oh yeah, I heard about the market over on whatever." Yeah, totally.
Yeah, I'd be like, "Oh, did you hear what's happening over on?"
Yeah, insert planet here.
Yeah.
Sure. Yeah, totally. That can totally be your in to the conversation.
Yeah, wait till I know of a planet that they're speaking about or something. Or interject some planet that I know about.
Yeah. So let's look at that real quick. So I think that probably something. Oh, I mean, how about they just start talking about Fatine, right?
Oh, perfect. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So this is totally good for me too. So they start talking about Fatine, and like, how they can monetize certain aspects of it, and that kind of stuff. And you jump in with, do you have something, or do we just pretend you jump in with something?
I'll probably. Oh well, the real problem with Fatine would be the individuals that live there. They're hard to work with.
Totally. Yeah, they're very, very prideful. And a lot of people are like, no, I've seen some of those, some of the people from Fatine. They have a hard time living on the planet, so a lot of them live on the station, and uprooting them for more factory space would be hard. And like, it's totally. And I think that, like, you see this individual, he smiles, and he says, yes, very, very good. Yes, it is correct. It is hard to get the people on Fatine to cooperate, but that's why we give them the jobs. That's why they have the jobs. And he speaks with a pretty good English accent. He doesn't appear to have like a thick, heavy accent.
Mm-hmm.
And then he kind of like looks at you and he says, this is interesting. And he slowly begins like dismissing some of the individuals that are kind of around him, until it's like you, him, and like one other woman who you noticed before, but she's kind of like hanging on his arm. She doesn't appear to be his like wife if he has one, but she doesn't appear to be a groupie either. And she's got like a bird-like face, almost kind of a long, like, pointed nose, very sharp eyes. She probably looks like Middle Eastern descent of some sort.
Okay.
And once it's the three of you kind of just standing around, he's like, "My friend, my name is Jazil. It is a pleasure." And he kind of extends his hand to shake.
I'd probably say, we'll say, my name's Arthur.
It is good to meet you, Arthur. And
I'm sorry, what was his name again?
Jazeel. Jazeel.
Got it.
And he's like, this is my escort for the night. Her name is Alante. and she kind of like she does an inclined bow and kind of holds out her hand to shake as well. And he says, "Come, I wish to speak more on this how you say, business opportunity that we may be able to arrange." And it's clear that, like, he's identified you as being his contact, right?
Yeah.
And so you guys kind of, like, maneuver off into a back room and to give you your information, and I think that's where we cut over to Gogo and Boomer, who are in a very distinctly different environment, I think. Gogo and Boomer are in an environment, I think, where any of the people that are at the party that Fortunes is at would not be caught dead. Would be probably the best way to describe it. It's smoky. It's hard to see. Those with weaker constitutions probably have, like, their eyes are watering. It smells like stale piss and alcohol. It's a ratty place that you guys have found yourselves in, but you're dressed for the occasion, I assume, in your badass, like, half cyborg and, like, Boomer with, like, his trench coat or whatever he's got on for the day. And so Gogo, what's the general feeling, or is there any, like, interaction with Boomer on the way here?
Well, I think outward Gogo is totally at home, no big deal, just in a bar, no problem. But inside, Gogo's like, oh my god, this might be it. We might actually, she's really anxious and kind of nervous about what's going to happen. So I think, her and Boomer know exactly what they're here for. So, they're not going to risk discussing anything in front of anybody. So I think they would just saddle up to wherever there's an empty spot at the bar and wait.
Yeah, and I think that, like, while you're on your way here, probably maybe something else is going through your mind is Boomer, like, kind of, like, probably stops you before you, like, get into the bar, and he's probably like, Go. I gotta come clean about something.
Go on.
He's like, I know I've blown it off a lot in the past talking about how I left the Daybreak Enterprises, but there's more to it than that. This that guy we're looking for. There was an incident that involved his organization and the one that I used to work for.
An incident? Like a Boomer incident or an incident?
I mean, that all depends on your perspective of the incident, I guess. There was an accident while I was working for Daybreak. It caused a lot of strife, and one of the reasons why I don't talk about it very much is there was a pretty elaborate cover-up. Nobody's ever really heard of it unless you were there directly, and, well, to be rightfully honest, they mostly just killed the people that were witness to it.
How are you still standing, then?
He kind of, like, gives you a wink, and he's like, come on now, love, No,
I do know. That's exactly my question.
He's like, listen, I might not know which way to point the gun sometimes, but, well, when it comes to escaping things and using any means I need to, well, that's where I shine.
So why are you choosing to tell me this now, exactly?
He's like, well, it's totally possible that these people we're about to meet, they might know a thing or two about it. Might even know a thing or two about me.
Well, there's only one way to find out.
Yeah, and I think he kind of, like, he nods and he's like, yeah, let's just get it over with, I guess, right? And you can see him kind of, like, like, pull up his belt, and, like, you can hear, like, probably his pistol or rifle that's, like, strapped, like, underneath his trench coat, like, jingle a little bit.
Coco just shakes her head and turns around.
Yeah, and you guys enter into the bar, and when you get in there, it's the same atmosphere as I described, obviously. There's that moment, of course, where you guys walk in and everybody, like, turns and looks, and for a moment it's like, oh shit, are we supposed to be here? And then everybody goes back to whatever they were doing just a moment ago. And you guys, again, find a seat at the bar, and you just wait and start drinking, and The bartender is actually a robot. It's actually an expert system, and it kind of just slides along a bar along the back of along the back side of the bar, and it comes over to you and it says, "Greetings, how may I serve you?"
Gogo not necessarily liking these robot systems because she can't necessarily use her charm to get a larger drink poured.
Oh yeah, every drink is exactly.
Yeah, exactly. She kind of sighs and she's like, just some. And she like kind of like thinks for a second and she's like, you know what? Just some water for right now.
Very well. And you, sir? And Boomer looks and he's like, gin straight. And so the
she looks at him like, okay.
He just kind of shrugs. He's probably like, I heard it's good here.
She just laughs. She's like, sure, you do what you need to do.
Yeah, and so the robot slides over and you see him like pouring water and putting gin straight in a cup and comes back and you see like a little like flap open to like deposit credits, right? And Boomer like taps his RFID device on it or whatever. It transfers credits and says, have a wonderful, enjoyable experience here. And it like slides the drinks and then slides over to go deal with another customer. And so you guys sit there for probably about like an hour. Boomer has like the one drink and maybe a second one, but he's nursing him pretty heavily. Clearly on edge a little bit. And Go-Go, you're just, drinking water and like looking around and people come and people go and it's all kind of a blur almost. It's getting fairly late in the evening now. Or at least where you are, right? You guys could have landed an hour ago, but it's fairly late in the evening right now on the planet where you are. And Go-Go, you swing around on your seat and you're like looking around, you got your drink in your hand. And you swing back around and there's like a piece of paper sitting like underneath your napkin. And like you do the momentary like look around, like what the hell? Right?
Mm-hmm.
You pick it up and you look at it and it just says back door on it.
I show it to Boomer and then head nod towards the back.
Yeah, and he nods too, and he downs the rest of his drink and like squinches his nose and they were wrong. That's awful. And you guys, get up from your seats and head to the back, and nobody notices you as you walk out in the back, and you step out kind of into this back alleyway where you can see the tall like glass skylights way up above. And there's a single figure kind of leaning against the opposing wall. It's probably about, like 5 feet wide or whatever. There's a single figure kind of leaning against the opposing wall, with her, with a foot up on the wall behind her and a hood up. It's clearly a woman, and she looks up and she pulls her head back and you can see that, she clearly has a lot of cybernetics. One of her left eye is cybernetic, along with like there's clearly like a cybernetic plate that is kind of like half of her face, and then like the top part of her skull on the left side as well. And as she pulls her hood back, you can see she's got this like bright pink hair that kind of flows off the real side of her head and down, but it's obviously like completely like metal or shaved on the left side. And she looks up and she pulls out like a Eho stick and she puts it up to her mouth and she lights it, and she's like, "You still smoke, Boomer?" And Boomer looks and he kind of like massages the bridge of his nose and he's like, "Nah, gave that up." And she's like, she looks and she's like, "I see you've replaced me." Do you say anything, Go-Go?
Oh no, I'm just watching this pan out. I'm looking at her, looking back to him, and I'm staring at him like, care to clarify?
Yeah, and so you can see that the leg that's propped up against the wall is also cybernetic. Like, all of it is cybernetic. And she goes, "Hey, I'm Gretch," and she holds out her hand to shake it for you. And the hand that her right hand that she, or her left hand that she's using to smoke the EHO stick is real. Her right hand, though, is a cybernetic hand as well. She has, like, maximum strain on cybernetics, basically.
I shake her hand, and I kind of look at her and say, "Did Boomer do that to you, too?"
Like, she looks and she's like, "Not only this one," and she just taps her, like, cybernetic eye.
Gogo laughs, and she holds up her arm. She's like, "I understand."
Yeah, and she goes, "The rest was all a choice. Well, you know how it goes sometimes." And she like, takes a deep inhale and flicks her EHO stick, and she goes, "Well, Boomer, why'd you come back?" And you can see he kind of, like, looks, and he, like, scratches the back of his head, and he's like, "Well, I think you know who we're looking for." She just nods, and he's like, "What do you got?" And she goes, "Come on, Boomer, you know Gretch always comes through." And she pulls out, like a flash drive, and she, like, it clinks metallically along her fingers as she, like, twiddles it, right? A la Johnny Depp in Pirates of the Caribbean, where he clicks the coin, right, on his bone fingers. And she, like, clicks it back a couple times, and she hands it out, like, on a chain, and Boomer, like, reaches out, like, for her to drop it in his hands, and she snatches it away, and she goes, no, mine first. And Boomer goes, "Do I have to?" She just nods, and he's like, "Fine." And he, like, clears his throat, and he goes, "Gretch is the best cyber hacker, best technologist, best cyberneticist, best all-around technician that ever there was." And you can see her kind of, like, nod as he says all of this. And she goes, "Good, you haven't forgotten." And she tosses the flash drive to him, and he, like, catches it. And she looks, and she pulls out another EHO stick and lights it up again. She's like, "So, how long you on planet?" And she's kind of looking to the both of you. And Boomer, like, has already, like, plugged in the flash drive to his horizon and is kind of ignoring her. And so she actually, like, she looks at him, and she just shakes her head and smiles, and she looks to you, Gogo.
Then Gogo laughs and said, "That's a nice trick. I should have taught him that years ago." And then she just says, "Hopefully not too long. We just had one job, and, well, this." She kind of, like, gestures around at whatever this is. She says, "Do you live here? Is this your homeworld?"
He's like, "Live is a strong word, honey."
"Is this where you spend most of your time?"
"It's where I exist. That means anything. Good thing about Haldis, besides the corrupted atmosphere, I guess, it's easy to find parts." She's just smoking her EHO stick.
So you're a whiz at computers like this one?
She goes, "What lies has he been telling you? He's never been good with computers."
"Oh, don't worry. I've seen his mistakes, but he is better than I, at the very least."
Yes, "That's bold. Shouldn't give him any credit." And she pulls out her cybernetic hand and puts her EHO stick out on it, like, just on her cybernetic hand, and, like, taps it out and flicks it again. And she's like, "Is that sufficient, Boom?" And he, like, is, like, fiddling with his horizon, and he's like, "Yeah, but I don't know how we're gonna do it." And she looks at him, she's like, "We? Oh dear. You mistake me. This is me paying you back. You don't get nothing else from me. I don't want any part of this." And he just kind of looks a little bit dejected, and he's just like, "Yeah, I get it. I understand." and he shows you the information about this individual you've been tracking. But I think it'd be better if you told us, Gogo, what you know, and what you were attempting to acquire, what you and Boomer were attempting to acquire all of these weeks. Information including, and I'll tell you what you have, and you can describe it for me. Location, kind of detail surrounding this individual, what this individual is into, what they're wanted for, and by who. You have an entire dossier.
Fantastic. Well, I think it probably starts off with his name. His name is Mr. Bastille, but Gogo knew him as Bruno. She thought, in her naivete, that he was some sort of important businessman looking to invest in a young talent. Turns out he was simply at the time, mediocre drug lord, but now has become much more important, I guess you could say.
Yeah. He controls the whole cluster, actually, now.
Which is slightly shocking to her, because I think that a lot has occurred in the time that she has been looking for him.
Well, it's been many years, right? Like,
yeah.
There's been some time that has passed, for sure.
Many years, yes. Kogo knows how to hold a grudge. And so, yeah, he basically is the reason why Gogo and Boomer are acquaintances through an odd stroke of fate, as you were.
Right. Well, it's clear that Gogo had some ties. He belongs to a pretty major faction in the sector, right?
Yeah, the drug syndicate, indeed. Actually.
The Stockland Syndicate.
Indeed.
Is the name of it. And what in reference to Boomer's previous statement about how the two things could be tied, the Stockland Syndicate actually helped Daybreak Enterprises cover up that accident that occurred. And that's how you guys kind of became, or that's how, like, the two kind of got intertwined between Bruno and Daybreak Enterprises, and interjecting Boomer, who had all this awesome knowledge of how to create things and got kind of sucked into the world, right? You know, a la Narcos or whatever show you want to pull from. And that's kind of how, like, where you two met, but Boomer knew it from the other side, right? You were the naive young racer, hotshot, and he was kind of like in the background, like, you know, on the dirtier end of things. But you both, after, I don't know if you want to reveal it, after what happened and why the two of you are acquaintances and now looking for this individual again.
Yeah, so Boomer, needing to pay off his debt to certain individuals, was given a job that, after Gogo found out who Bruno was, decided she wanted nothing to do with him. And he didn't like that very much. So he basically told Boomer he needed to sabotage my pod racer, as it were.
Because you raced, was it air or was it actual spaceships, right? Like, didn't you race actual spaceships?
Both.
Right. Right, yeah. So whichever one, right?
Yep. And so Boomer's job, however, was to just have me lose a very, very high-profile, important race. Boomer, being Boomer, went a little too far.
He fucked it up.
And basically, I crashed and my ship blew up. And I nearly died, but did not. Got away with my life, but obviously now missing an arm and side of my face got screwed up. So that's where that came from. Mm-hmm. Afterwards, Boomer decided to come clean and say that it was him. I found out that it was he who had become a part of my crew. My pit crew, as it were, and he came to see me in the hospital, as you guys know, and told me all about it. So then from that point on, Gogo, in her lovely way of wanting to get even, has spent the rest of her life trying to find Bruno, since he immediately disappeared after the accident. And Gogo knew it wasn't just an accident because she's an amazing, pilot, and it wouldn't have been something that she did. The people, however, in the media did not believe her. The police didn't believe her either, that somebody actually sabotaged her and she wasn't just bad and crashed herself. And so, she no longer is famous. She got discredited and has been looking for him ever since.
And Boomer, in essentially his guilt,
yes,
has been trying to help her all of these years, using his contacts from the old days as well. And finally, once again, you have a hot lead from this new girl, Gretch, who is hard to pin an age on with all the cybernetics, to be honest. Hard to tell, because like skin has been stretched and restretched, probably over reinforced bones and shit many times. Hard to tell how old she is. But yeah, I think that like with that we maybe fade out on that of you guys, like you have a hot lead, which by the way, for the two of you, just not to bog it down, I'm going to give you your information, like exactly what you have and what you need to do, probably in between sessions, just so you guys have it. But yeah, that's a thing. That's what's going on for Boomer and Gogo. Flashback to Oscar sitting on the ship. What are you doing, Oscar?
Dude, nothing.